they do much more than the minimum requirement. So those that are just doing the bare minimum of what that level expects probably could look at it as a deduction and distribution, especially at this moment. Insufficient use of the apparatus. We have level changes from routine up to 1. We don't have the deduction anymore where they have to actually touch their torso to the beam. As long as they're changing levels, they tumble high, maybe they do a roll, maybe their mounts down and starts down low, and they have middle of the road type levels on the beam. And a squat turn would be a very nice level change. That would suffice this. They don't have to sit on the beam. It got kind of monotonous before when we had to require that, and they sat down, didn't sit, and stood back up. It's like, well, you know, a level 5 or 4 gymnast can do that too. So I think this is better. They can be more creative and do more interesting things. Spatially, they need to use the entire length of the beam, down and back. If you do see gymnasts that are just doing everything in between the uprights, you know, kind of right in that center spot, they never really get to the end, then you look at that, and that is an up to deduction, up to 1. And just a caution to remember that when we have deductions that are up to 1, up to 2, up to 3, you're not going to take the max unless it's the worst it could be. So you have to have that in your mind of what is the worst it could be. And what would be a minor deduction and maybe a middle of the road deduction. Direction, how is the choreography of the routine? Are they moving forward, sideways? Do they do anything oblique to the beam or sideways? Backwards, does their focus ever get off of the end of the beam? Are they actually moving their whole body, not just their head to the side? So minor differences. But the thing is like she said earlier, when Kristen said things that you remember, I think that's what beam is all about. When you go back and you're done judging, you think about, well, what are the memorable things on balance beam? And a lot of it is the choreography and the artistry of the routine and how it's put together and then how they presented it to you. All right. Acro elements, not up to the level, is a flat 1/10. And we have lots of examples there that you can see. So basically, in a nutshell, we're looking for a 3-element flight or an acro flight that has bonus. If it doesn't have bonus in it, like let's say they do a back handspring, 1-arm back handspring, which would be a BC, which is allowable for special requirements, there's no bonus. Or a flip-flop layout, but that is a D, so they get the D bonus. We're looking for another acro skill in that routine that is a D. So we assume that would be a flight type skill, like a salto, full twisting back handspring, swing down, something in that nature to fulfill this category. So without reading every single one of those, and they're in your handout, we'll look at some of those in the video.
I was just going to say, I think that will also kind of, it encourages a diversity of talents and really trying to have a well-balanced routine so you're not too heavy on the leaps or the acro showing all.
Linda, could you clarify the statement you just said about that back handspring layout step out being the D? We're talking about connective bonus, not D bonus.
Right, it is connected bonus, you're right.
And
Yeah.
right, and that exception definitely doesn't have one.
Fulfill that if that's all they did. It would be connective value, so it would be flick, flick, lay, or flick, lay, or something else. Elements that are different from level 10, you have this in your handouts. Go back and refer to your latest minutes from May from the technical committee, because some of the skills now are a little different. I've readjusted this, but I think your handout still needs a little correction, because now that we have valued the layout step out D for JO, so we don't need to have exceptions for, you know, the values here. So these are the ones that still are different. The staggering leap with front leg stagged or straight is a D for college, and it's a C for JO. So that one is still there. The salto forward takeoff from one leg to a sit is a D for college, and it's a C for JO. The kick over front, or the one-legged front salto that lands on the beam on their feet, is a D for JO as well. That used to be in this list. And then the gainer off the side with a half twist is a B, and in our code it's a Yeah, that was different. And then gainers forward are the same. Stand on one leg, swing leg backward to front arrow with a full as a C. I don't think that's in our, oh, if it is, it was an add-on. But anyway, that's a C, and we do see that at college. And then the 2-foot take up, back tuck in any position to the side is a B, so it's like just a pull up with 2 feet on the side of the beam is B. And then, of course, the gainer layout full is a C, and that is for JO as well, and that used to be an exception, and it's not anymore. So, other than that, a couple of connection value, just reminders, the B plus D, if they do back handspring layout step out, which is BD for collegiate and JO now, there is no connected value for that series. If they do a B plus an E and they do the flip-flop and the layout to 2 feet that is laid out, stretched through vertical, that is the E, that would get a 1/10 connected value, not the 2. And then BBD would be your flip-flop layout, gets +1 for connected value, plus of course you get the D, the extra D. And none of that is different, that's the same as it was last year, but it's just a review.
Talk about our originality of choreography and elements and connections, 105 to 110. Quality of gymnast movement to reflect the personal style, 105 to 110. And quality of expression, 105 to 110. So again, these are kind of the things that we talked about earlier that I think make those routines memorable, make them stand out. Yes, Al?
Does anybody ever take quality of expression?
Yeah, when she looks bored.
You do?
It happens at JO, it does. And I'm sure everybody that's taken that at JO, raise your hand, because I'm sure we have. I don't know if anyone's taken it in college, but, you know, if you feel like the routine is just very monotone and she's just focusing straight ahead and she never lifts up her chin and sells that routine, I think that's what we're looking for in that particular deduction. And normally at college, I would like to say they don't make a line of it if they don't show this off. So, you know, more often than not, we're not taking that there. The choreography of part of it, though, I think belongs partly to the coach and partly to the athlete, because they're going to put the things together in an interesting manner without just those stop, start, connected all the way through. Meg, did you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to say that, and Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, but the flip-flop layout step out doesn't get connected bonus, and neither does standing back layout back handspring. Standing back layout step out back handspring, right?
Either way. But they can still do it, that's okay. And then the gymnast movement to reflect her personal style. It's really nice when you see an athlete get up there and just really know what she's all about. And you can usually tell that right from the get-go. And a lot of these things, we were taught as judges to separate these categories as we're judging the artistry. Don't just say artistry, I took 110, because that's not right. You need to be able as a judge to say, what did you take it for? And so if it is a specific thing, like I felt like her choreography was just very stock and she never really connected things together, it didn't flow throughout the routine, well then you have the ability to use 05 to 1 here. And the same thing for her personal style. If you can't tell what it is, she didn't have any. She probably wasn't in the meat in college, but it can happen. It's a lot easier to pin those things down in JO because you have little children and older, you know, less mature kids doing things that maybe weren't even right for them to do. So,
But back to Val's point, I would be interested to know how many of you would take artistry, because to me, that's an area that you can differentiate and you can separate, and I wonder if sometimes those things are taken.
yes.
Yeah. At least 0.05 or...
One would be huge, I think, if you were talking about each category, that would be a lot. But I think it can be a separator from the good to the best. Let's see, what else we have? Oh, this is just a little quick review on the general execution deductions that we have to use. And then we're going to apply some of these in the video clips we're going to see next and talk about it. And if you look at those, except for flex feet during a value part, they're all up to. So remember, you don't take the max unless it's as bad as it could be. Most times we look at things like bent arms and legs, we have up to 3/10 to deduct for that. We look at a 90-degree angle as being the worst.